All right, here's exposure. There we go. A little bit of sunlight spill. I'm all right with that. You can get a consistent exposure, I'll be even more all right. When it comes to filmmaking, it's easy to spend a lot of your mental energy thinking on the production side of things. Thinking about cameras and lenses and lighting and all the new tech that comes out every year. And while that's important, I've found that sound design gets kind of punted down the field. It's usually an afterthought for a lot of filmmakers. And a lot of those filmmakers end up on YouTube looking up how to do sound design. And hopefully those filmmakers stumble across this video and me. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna talk about sound design. All right, guys, I'm gonna take a moment while the sun is gone to say, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and leave a comment about how great it is to use natural lighting and how there's no downsides. Oh, here we go. This looks way better anyways. Good sound design is one of the best ways to immerse your audience in the world on screen. So whether that's a short film or a vlog or one of your lifestyle videos, adding a bit of sound design can really bring your audience into the story that you're trying to tell. So let's talk about sound effects. Sound effects are any sound you hear on screen that isn't either dialogue or music. And there's a lot of different reasons you might want to use sound effects. Adding things like atmosphere and Foley and room tones can help build the auditory world of your story, while things like record scratches, whooshes, and dings might be used in more creative ways to add a comedic element or bringing a bit of life to your transitions. Let's take a look at a couple of examples of how and when to use sound effects. All right, so that is our little diner set that we used in one of Soundstripe's commercial pieces. And I wanted to show this because it's one of the most obvious uses of sound effects, and that's to build an atmosphere. So building an atmosphere kind of helps make the scene feel more real. It makes it feel like it's not just a movie set. Kind of brings a little bit more of an organic feel to this, to the spot. Because obviously without the sound effects, what you get is this. So obviously it's a little more lifeless. You don't have anything that's kind of makes it feel like you're in a world. It feels like you're just looking at some people with some music. So adding this atmosphere in the background helps to make the scene feel more like it's you're in a real space watching real people. So the two sound effects that we used are these atmosphere sounds, which you can find in our library. The first one is called Coffee Shop 1. The second is Busy Restaurant Crowd Coffee Shop 1. The reason that we mix these is because this sound effect here, the crowd sounded a little bit too busy, so it made it seem like we were in a really busy, big, crowded space, which we didn't want it to feel like that. We wanted it to feel a little bit more subdued. So what we have going on is I've got this equalizer that's creating a high pass filter, and that's just leaving us with kind of the higher end of the sound effect. So what you get is just some of those silverware sounds, which was missing in this sound effect here. So this sound effect, the coffee shop, was a little more subdued, whereas this one sounded like it was a big crowd. If I turn this off, you can hear what it sounded like without that high pass. So definitely a little busier, which we didn't like the feel of. All right, well, let's go ahead and take a look at our next example.
A long way, and that's why the songs say that I can do all things. I can do all things. I can do all things. Yeah. Got out of my own way. Got out of my own way, and I can do.
Okay, so this was a piece from one of the Soundstripe lives that we did featuring artist McCall, who has a really, really great album on our library. So take a look at that if you haven't already. I thought this would be a great example to show off how you can kind of spice up your edits with sound effects. So rather than using sound effects to create an atmosphere, this is kind of selling a feeling and a tone. So this is basically a music video, but in this scene, we used sound effects to kind of punch up some of the transitions and some of the light flashes. So I want to show you that now without the music so you can kind of hear what those are doing. So that's it. I'm going to kind of take this piece by piece so you can kind of take a look. This is not meant to be a how-to as much as just showing you some of the thought process behind some of these sound effects to hopefully give you an idea of what you can think about in your own projects. So in this spot, I have this sound effect, Showtime, which is kind of this deep rumble. And I thought that matched really well with this kind of like shaky cam that we have going on right here. It kind of just helps add a bit of energy to that. And then moving into that, we do this zoom in effect where we actually had two cameras on a dolly, on the same dolly side by side on different focal lengths. But to help sell that effect and kind of give it a little bit more energy, we added a low soft impact short sound effect, and that's basically a whoosh. So I'm gonna solo that so you can hear. And then we added, I added a clothes whoosh. So it's basically like the sound of clothes rustling. And that kind of helped give it a little bit more energy, especially with his jacket. I kind of think blending those two added a little something. We also have this Showtime sound effect, which is kind of just like a deep bassy rumble. So all three of those combined kind of helped give this really cool mix of sounds here. And then moving on from that, I wanted to get a sound effect for these lights flicking on, and I didn't want to use something super obvious like a light switch sound or a flash bulb or something like that. So I found these kind of action booms, which here I'll show you that. So it kind of had a cool mechanical sound as well as like this deep rumble afterwards. Again, kind of the tone of this whole piece, the kind of deeper, bassier sounds helped add to the tone of the piece as a whole. So I'm not using a lot of like brighter sounds, a lot deeper tonal sounds. And then you'll notice here, I added actually a flash sound. And the reason that we did that is you can kind of get sound fatigue where if you hear the same sound effect over and over for an effect, you kind of get fatigued of the sound. So I kind of try to do things to change it up a little bit. So I found two different options of the sound. So Action Boom 1, Action Boom 2. And then the third time we hear it, it's actually reversed. So it's Action Boom 1, but I reversed it so that it kind of had just a slight change in it. So it's not all sounding the same. But with multiple lights kicking on all at once, I also wanted to give this one a little bit more energy. So I added this flash sound effect. So here's that. And that mixed with this action boom, I think added a lot of energy to it. So again, here's that. So one thing I wanted to point out about a piece like this is, obviously I'm just showing you a small sample of the whole piece, but this is like a 3 or 4 minute long video. A lot of the times it's tempting to add a sound effect to every push in, every light pop. But I think, again, going back to sound fatigue, it's important to use sound effects sparingly. So again, this was maybe a 20-second example from a 4-minute piece, but I would not be doing a soundscape like this to the entire 4 minutes. I think it kind of loses quite a bit when you add a sound to every single thing. So I kind of tried to pick a moment in this piece where there was a lot happening. So at this particular time, there's a push in, a bunch of lights go off, we jump back out, and then a bunch of lights kick on again before another push in. So it was a good section where there was a lot going on, and lyrically, I think it kind of matches the intensity of what he's saying, what the artist is saying, and his actions and movement. So I think using sound effects sparingly in longer pieces is a really important thing to be mindful of.
Yeah, cause we came a long way, and that's why the songs say that I can do all things. I can do all things. I can do all things. Yeah, got out of my own way. Got out of my own way.
All right, guys, I think that's gonna do. I hope you were able to learn some cool stuff about sound design and creative use of sound effects that you can incorporate in your own videos. We'll see you on the next one. Transition!